Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is November 5th, 2025. And today I'm going to talk about why the first big move of the cryptocurrency alt season has to happen now. It has to happen now. There is no other way, and I'm going to explain why that is. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. I'm not mincing words, and I'm not being hyperbolic by saying it has to happen now. It quite literally has to happen now. If you look at this chart of Bitcoin against USDT, you'll understand why. Now, let's take a second to zoom out. Maybe some of you all are new, and you may not understand what we're looking at exactly. So just zooming out on the daily time frame, you see that Bitcoin for the past 100 plus days has been in a tight range, okay? And that range looks quite bearish. As you can see, you have you have three peaks, okay? And typically when you see three peaks, that's indicative of a bearish reversal pattern or a head and shoulders pattern, okay? So it's very likely, if you know anything about technical analysis, you have any legibility in charts. Did I just make up a word? Maybe I did. But if you're used to reading charts, you know that once you see this, you typically get a breakdown that typically indicates a local market top. And to add to that, the move you got here on October 10th, taking you from the top of this range of 100 plus days all the way down to the bottom. This is indicative of the final moves, the final final movements of a channel breakdown. So this channel is very likely breaking down in the following way, okay? But it's not finished yet. So, and just before we zoom back in, I want you to take into account where this 100 plus day channel is in reference to even more price action that's lasted even, over a year. It's pretty much the top of the top because you have this channel price action. So you have this 100-day channel at the top of 100 plus days of price action. So that in your mind should give you a bit of a reference point as to where we're at in terms of Bitcoin's price action. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look bullish. Okay? By any stretch of the imagination, this is not bullish. So let's now focus back on this 100-day channel and particularly this price action here. So let me jump down into the 4-hourly time frame and show you. Okay, so this price action that we've been tracking for the past 20 plus days is in reaction to what happened on the 10th. That big move on the 10th that took us from the top of the channel all the way down to the bottom has a counter, okay? And the counters are really where I think the pros make their hay. Because a lot of amateurs could read that and say, okay, that is a breakdown. But your pros will look into the weeds of this counter correction and tell you what I'm saying right now, which is I'm looking for a 3-wave move. I'm looking for a 3-wave flavor of 3 correction to tell me that this has been countered, and so that this initial break of structure can continue. Does that make sense? What you saw, what you experienced on the 10th, was a preamble to what you're going to get. What you experienced on the 10th isn't the end, it's the beginning of a larger move down. Since that reaction on the 10th, we've been in a counter correction. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is this: everything you're experiencing here is counter to what you experienced on the 10th. Remember the pain, remember the fear, remember what you saw in the markets on the 10th. Yeah? That was the beginning. This is the intermission. And after we retest 116K, you can expect whatever power, whatever energy, whatever trend you experience on the 10th to resume. Feel that. Feel what I'm trying to say. That's the level of urgency you should feel about the market. You felt like everything was over with that. That was just the beginning, and you should feel that even more when the trend resumes, because technically speaking, remember, you're looking at an A wave. That's not pure impulse. A B wave is obviously a counter correction. C waves, or the last leg of a tripart any corrective pattern, is always impulsive. So you should actually feel even more fear, even more strength, even more impulse in that direction right here. Okay, I think you get it. It's not to scare anyone, but to convey the level of urgency that we have to have once price gets back here. Now, we're not there yet, but to put all of that in context, when I say altcoins have to move now, I'm not just saying that willy-nilly. I'm saying that because for the past 20 days in this counter correction, I'm seeing the larger ABC flat correction playing out, and this B wave that we've been tracking is complete. I was correct in saying maybe this is B of B. That it was indeed B of B, because after that you got a clean move down that was clearly impulsive, that took you from 116 all the way down to 99. But we're not done yet, because this larger flat correction has to play out. This initial break goes up, the B wave trends down, the C wave takes you back up to this level, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, W, X, Y, however you want to count it. This is the last move. This is the last move. And I know I was saying, okay, based off of what we were reading in this B wave, that Bitcoin was likely to go up, down, and then back up again. That's changed, right? Any good analyst reads dynamically, meaning based off of the most recent price action, you formulate a thesis, and if your previous thesis is invalidated, it's invalidated. My overall high time frame thesis has always been we're in this larger flat correction that has to retest 116, okay? And then basically trying to suss it out, trying to tease out the finer, more intricate moves of that flat correction. And so when I said in previous episodes that we're in nested flat corrections, these nested flat corrections played out. This B wave right here played out. That's finished. This B wave. A, B, C played out. That's finished. There's nothing left to do. I really want to emphasize that. We are done, done, done. This right here is the last move. It's an impulsive move all the way back to 116. When I say impulsive, it's not pure impulse in the sense that, you get pure impulse going down here. It's pure impulse in the sense that you should expect, just like you did here, just a continuous trend in one direction until the target is reached. Now, on the subject of the target being reached, please understand that this right here does not mean we're just going to continue to go to the downside. No. Everything says we go back to 116. Everything says that this is the bottom. Even the day that I'm recording this says that it's the bottom because it's a full moon, November 5th, 2025. And we know, using research that's been done for over 50 years in traditional markets, that full moons typically represent local market bottoms. And here on the 4-hourly time frame, you can see a double bottom. The double bottom signifying a local market bottom. The double bottom also signifying that this is likely going to yield a move up, but it's going to be corrective only because, even though it's impulsive, it's a corrective impulse. Okay, the context of that is that you're completing this flat correction right here. Okay, so once you complete this flat correction, it's going to be an A, B, C, and that's where you die. Now, what does this have to do with altcoins? If you don't get it, I'm basically saying that altcoins only have until Bitcoin gets to 116 before they also trend down. And so the idea that altcoins are just going to all of a sudden go in the opposite direction is false. No. The time they have to beat Bitcoin and overtake it in dominance, the time they have to move off of the lows if they're on support, if they're on, multi-year support, to move off of that multi-year support is now. Okay, so this is the urgency. Why altcoins don't have any more time. They have to move now. And by all accounts and purposes, or by all measure, by all of my best analysis, they're doing that. Okay, let's have a quick look at the others chart. The others chart, remember, is a representation of all of the altcoins minus the top 10 in market cap. October 10th, what did you do? You put in this capitulative move. If you don't know this chart, I'm just going to zoom out real quick for you. This is what altcoins looked like for the past 500 days. They've been putting in this corrective move, okay? And it doesn't look bad. It looks finished. It looks finished insofar as you had a move and you had a counter. Also, this counter has a big wick to the downside. We call that a hammer candle, okay? A hammer candle is a move where buyers step in and buy up supply quickly, indicating a local bottom. Okay, so you had a move, a counter move that looks like it happened in a flavor of 3, and a quick buy up of supply right here at these lows. And these lows were the lows of your 500-day channel. This is very, very indicative of continuation and a completed correction which lasted 500 days. Okay, it looks great for altcoins. Not good, great. Your next likely target is going to be breaking this channel of 500 days and retesting the top as support. Why? Because right now, what you've done was retest the midline here. You broke up, retested the midline in this small move. Your next move with a high degree of probability is to break up and out of the channel from the midline and then retest that channel's top previous resistance as new support. That's the big move you should expect in this move that Bitcoin's making to 116. And I know it sounds like, what? Really? That's a lot. Yeah. On average, if you look in total, that move of altcoins is about a 3x. Okay? And that 3x conveniently takes you to the parabolic resistance that altcoins have experienced since 2018. So you're headed into 2,900 day resistance from this move. Okay? 3x I said? 3x or 4x? I forget. What did I say? Let me see. 4x. It should be 4x because 300% is 4x, right? So 4x off of that. Doesn't mean all altcoins are going to do that. Remember, only the bullish altcoins. If you don't know what the bullish altcoins are from the non-bullish altcoins, then that's what the crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service is. Or, if you just want a single altcoins analysis, single asset analysis service. But there are certain altcoins that are already at their resistances. They're not going to put in that 4x on average. There are other altcoins that are going to do even more than that. This is a bold claim, but our Bitcoin dominance chart is saying, be bold, okay? Be bold in the idea that altcoins are going to dominate Bitcoin on this run. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Remember, Bitcoin dominance means altcoins are gaining against Bitcoin. If Bitcoin dominance goes down, the reverse is true. When Bitcoin dominance goes up, Bitcoin is gaining against altcoins, i.e. Bitcoin's dumping, altcoins are dumping even worse, or Bitcoin's pumping, altcoins are stagnant. Okay? What you've seen in the past few days, or months actually, is extremely encouraging. Let's say a few days, right? Obviously, this purple channel's 850-day channel, I talk about it all the time. What you did on October 10th, you came up, you retested the midline of that channel, rejected from it. You've been hanging out at the bottom of the channel, and what you've done isn't necessarily retest the bottom of the channel as resistance. You could say, well, it is. You can make a case for that, but I think even more importantly is, and we're just going to zoom down on the 4-hourly time frame for this, whatever you did on October 10th, you've just done the retest of. Again, every corrective pattern should be thought of in a flavor of 3 correction. It doesn't matter if it's a ABC flat correction. Doesn't matter if it's a zigzag. Doesn't matter if it's a triangle even. Every corrective pattern happens in a flavor of 3. So here you have the move on October 10th, and subsequent to October 10th, you had your recovery in altcoins. Ever since then, you've been slowly moving up against that. This is where the market wants to go. This is the initial break. This is the A wave. All this is the B wave. It acts like a B wave. It talks like a B wave. It walks like a B wave. Remember what a B wave is. A B wave is counter correction. A B wave is inherently unpredictable. A B wave is sloppy. A B wave is messy. This fits the bill. And this can be characterized as a specific B wave, as a zigzag. Remember, zigzags are A, B, C corrective patterns where the B wave corrects to the 0.5 to the 618 Fibonacci retracement level of the A wave. And the A wave is a corrective impulse. 5 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves. You're very likely putting in a zigzag in the Bitcoin dominance chart where you just finished that B wave. This says, with a high degree of probability, your next move is going to be down and in pure impulse. Okay? Look at what you did here. We're on the 4-hourly time frame, but I think it's noteworthy. It's not the largest time frame, but it's noteworthy given the context of what you're looking at. You reject it at the 0.618, right, which is your phi ratio, which is exactly where you expect the B wave to find its terminus in a zigzag. You've put in a bearish reversal pattern here. Let's say you come up, you put in a double top, still likely to put in a bearish reversal pattern right here, right? So you're putting in signs of weakness at the resistance levels you should reject from. That's an extremely good sign, okay? And if indeed you do continue to the downside, let's zoom back out. Remember, the bottom of this channel is 850 days of support. You can wick into it, but that doesn't, a wick isn't a reclamation. You wicked into it, you're likely to fall from it. That fall is how you get your 4x. That fall of Bitcoin dominance, right, from here all the way down to the next level of logical support, which is down here, gives you your 4x in altcoins. This right here being a rising wedge, this right here being up and to the right and breaking down gives you your 4x. So it seems a bit ambitious, but your Bitcoin dominance chart is saying that you're going to get it. The Bitcoin chart is saying there's the Bitcoin chart says you have an opportunity for an upside move. It doesn't tell you the degree of the upside move in altcoins. It doesn't tell you the strength of it, but the Bitcoin dominance tells you that. The Bitcoin dominance chart and the others chart also implies that. So that's my analysis. Hope this was helpful, useful. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider joining my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, where I help you choose those bullish altcoins that are going to herald the start of this cryptocurrency market bull run, i.e. alt season 2025. And I also help you identify key levels of support and resistance so you can cycle profits and snowball your portfolio. So that's Crypto Portfolio Mentorship and Consultation Service. Sign up is in the pinned comment below. Last but not least, the single asset analysis service is basically just my take on one single asset. It can be a commodity, it could be a stock, it could be a crypto, it could be a precious metal, it doesn't matter. Make the payment, tell me what you want me to look at. Within 24 hours, I'll have the pre-recorded analysis in your inbox. So that's single asset analysis service. Guys, let's effing go. Let's see how this plays out. I believe the time is now. All right, take care.
I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin what's happening? Gone like the wind, here's where I begin.